It seems to be an increasingly perilous time for the president. If you can judge by two tweets today, a duo of frenetic missives filled with misdirection and inaccuracies. And I'm quoting here, Democrats can't find a smoking gun, tying the Trump campaign to Russia after James Comey's testimony. No smoking gun. No collusion at Fox News. That's because there was no collusion. So now the Dems go to a simple private transaction, wrongly call it a campaign contribution, which it was not. But even if it was, it is only a civil case like Obama's, but it was done correctly by a lawyer, and there would not even be a fine. Lawyer's liability if he made a mistake, not me. Cohen just trying to get his sentence reduced. Witch hunt. I'm quick keeping him honest. It's not the Dems, it's the Southern District of New York. It's not a simple private transaction, as President Trump said right there. It's multiple alleged felony hush payments, one to a former Playboy playmate, the other to a porn star, which the president and the people around him have repeatedly lied about over and over and over again. Once again, we don't know about collusion, but some may be tempted to say, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's an old saying. Joining us now is CNN Chief White House Correspondent Jim Acosta. So, Jim, what are you learning about where the president's head is right now about, these smocking payments?
It's pretty smocky over here at the White House tonight, Anderson. I did talk to a source close to the president who said earlier this evening that the president has expressed concern that he could be impeached over some of these issues that you just talked about. He has said it's a, quote, real possibility, according to this source. But at this point, he doesn't see it as being certain. You saw in that tweet there where he refers to these payments as being a transaction. That obviously is simplifying things a great deal, because Michael Cohen has said, and he's pled guilty to this, that he believes, and he has said, that he was directed to make those payments by the president. Now, where things go from here, I talked to other sources close to the White House. One source who says that they do believe, there are advisors who believe inside the White House, that the one item that could stick with this president are these alleged campaign finance violations, these campaign financial crimes that have been alleged in the Michael Cohen case. But at this point, they don't believe inside the White House that it's going to be enough to get a conviction in the Senate and a removal from office vote in the Senate. Might be enough in a Democratic House, obviously, but they don't think it'll trigger the kind of bipartisan support for impeachment in the House that could really trigger some very serious action over in the Senate for the president. Anderson.
He's also obviously continuing to say no collusion whatsoever.
That's right. And just a very important caveat in all of this, when we talk to sources over here who say, the president is concerned about impeachment, they are basing all of these comments, they're basing all of their theorizing at this point as to what might happen on what they think they know right now. So some of this is wishful thinking. And so when the president goes out there and repeats these talking points, no collusion and so on, that is based on essentially redacted documents coming from the special counsel's office, some of which we saw on Friday night. And so at this point, I think a lot of this, it sort of goes back to what Donald Rumsfeld used to say back during the Bush administration: there are known knowns and known unknowns. And at this point, I think even people inside the White House recognize they just don't know what Robert Mueller is going to do, and they can base what they think is going to happen at this point on what they understand to be the case. But obviously, Robert Mueller is not really finished with his investigation at this point. But Anderson, it is important to know, I did talk to a source close to the president who has said, he has expressed to advisors that he does think impeachment is a, quote, real possibility. He just doesn't know if it's certain at this point.
Is it, brother, is that a drum, like a protester drum somewhere in the distance I'm hearing?
It is. Okay. There is music being played out on Pennsylvania Avenue. Don't see any smoke, or smoke as some might call it, over here. But those I
just want to make sure it wasn't like bongos being played in the White House itself. It's actually out on the street.
No, there's a steady drum beat in Washington, but tonight it's just protesters.